Good morning.
Let's go. Oh, what a day yesterday was. Welcome to another Nudelberg Daily Huddle, coming off of the inaugural in-person Nudelberg Daily Huddle.
So just you see the first 5 people who were jumping in, they were all there. It was, I really want to get your take. You know, I know we talked about it a little bit, but both of us, all 3 of us were busy. So Jake, starting from you, thoughts?
Just a great room of people. Cool to see the turnout. Cool to see what we built. Cool to see the camaraderie, the excitedness among the others to see each other. Way beyond just seeing us or us seeing them to see each other, which is, I think, the real measuring stick of a community, is not just follow the leader, but interaction between the peers.
So
I did not rehearse that, by the way. So that was
community.
I didn't know that was.
Yeah, to me, the word community, just like I'm in awe of everybody else. You know, it's super cool that like the show is the thing that's at the center of it, but I'm just in awe of the quality of people that everybody is, of the way they connect with each other, the questions, the conversations. Just an amazing community. I could not be more proud of it.
I triple that emotion, if you will. To be, to decide to do it live, we do it live every day, but to do it in person, to see the people who went out of their way to make it there and stay there. I agree with you, man. There was a camaraderie and an energy in the room. And what totally blew me away was, hey, you want to do this again? And like everybody,
yeah.
Do it tomorrow,
Yeah. What's the quarter?
Crazy.
That was Tim Sarney's, I think, biggest takeaway. Was she was like, what you guys said was great, content was great. That she was like, but to do that at 7:30 in the morning, she's like, I don't know a whole lot of other people that can fill a room with that kind of energy at 7:30 in the morning. So, it's awesome. It's very cool.
I agree. Shay, did we show the pictures yet or no?
We did not. Shay, show the pictures.
Not sure what he's waiting
up
for,
there.
but
Yeah, man.
So,
I was letting you guys talk.
Shout out to Zach Corliss. Zach is generally the first one in the huddle. He was the first one there live yesterday. He actually was the greeter at the door, and just fantastic to see everybody. That group picture is just so endearing, So, then I also want to shout you out, Mark, because we did not rehearse that content. Those were raw questions that, in front of a live audience, answer that with that kind of poise and, it was just great, man. There was that lump in my throat for a second.
I thought I was going to get you to cry. I got you close. We didn't get the full-on waterworks, but I got you close.
We get caught up in our lives. You're busy doing your thing, and as everybody notices or knows, your standard operating procedure is, so you got to figure out ways to fit it in. It was really cool. It was just very, very cool. And I really, really enjoyed the fact that you shouted out the team for, what did you call them? The action team?
Action squad.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the action squad. They are
separate. It's a separate group chat.
Yeah. Right. We have the OTB Action Squad group chat, and they're the ones that make it all tick. They're the ones that make it all work. And it was great to be there and deliver the content and do all of that. But it doesn't go as smoothly. It doesn't operate that way without the squad. And I was so happy because the night before I was rehearsing in my head, like, okay, guys, like we screwed up. That was a miss. And here, how do we debrief it? And I was preparing in case it went really poorly. So like I was, had both outcomes in mind, and it could not have been any better. So they deserved that shout out.
Joy, it's really funny that it was never cool for guys in business to cry, and I think that's one of the fallacies that I think I'm a crier. I'm emotional.
He cries in Chicago PD. Like it's not like this is like doesn't take much.
There were some movies that like I'd look over and he'd be crying and I'd be like, why is he crying?
There are certain people that are very, very appreciative of my sentimental side. Thank you, Helen.
1,000%.
We watch movies together and we're crying. So
yeah,
stock awesome. Kleenex, Anyway, great stuff. We have a great show. It's hard to follow up yesterday, but you know what, guys? We continue to do it. So Shay, wake us up and let's rock and roll. Baby. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more doctor thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on. All right. So there is my lady shouting it out that we cry simultaneously. So we actually keep onions around just so that we have an excuse. So anyway, about ready to leave tomorrow. Jake, Helen, Kai, and myself go on a cruise for a couple of days. I know I'm super excited, and I know that I'm burnt. Like I have taken this last stretch of work and play, and I just really don't have anything else to give. I'm a giver, also a crier, but a giver, and so I give everything I have until I got nothing left. And I think it's important to recognize when you're grinding the gears. So this comes at a perfect time. But Mark, you sent me a notice from HubSpot. We are a client of HubSpot. And Shay, I don't know if you have a graphic for this. There you go. And I want you to comment on it.
Yes. So HubSpot is taking a company annual global week of rest. So they are a global company. They have employees all over the world, and they are sending the entire company on break. Everybody, mandatory that, hey, we're closing down for a week. And the email that they sent to everybody was a masterclass in setting boundaries and setting expectations, because they said, we're not asking whether or not you think it's okay whether or not we close for a week. We're closing for a week. So therefore, if you have things that are pending, reach out to your customer support person. If you have things that are planned for that time, get in touch with us prior. Do the planning necessary, because we are going to be closed and we do not care what you think. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So one word that we did not explore yesterday, and I want to do here, was creating the right expectation.
Right.
So they are delivering to you up front, saying, hey, whatever you need done, we're going to get it done here, or we're going to get it done afterwards. But that time is sacred, and deal with it.
And how cool is that for a very, very big company to make that decision for their people? To say, whether you're a workaholic or not, this is what we're telling everybody to do. We're going to go ahead and take responsibility for everybody's time, which I think is cool.
Jake, your thought?
I think, we deal with a lot of industries, training them, coaching them, speaking to them. And one of the pushbacks on time management when we talk about boundaries or saying no is, you don't understand our market. You don't understand our job.
Right.
We can't do that. We can't. That's not possible. We would lose our jobs. We would make no money. HubSpot is used 24/7 by majority of large companies, Fortune 500 companies. Every industry uses HubSpot, and they looked at everybody and said, "We make the rules."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reality is you all make the rules in your company. You make the rules on what you're going to accept, the level of work, and if taking 4 days off is going to lose a client, then you're not doing a good job of developing a relationship, putting a good product out there, doing your job to the maximum level. If they're that willing to switch to a competitor, HubSpot knows nobody's going anywhere. I can't talk to somebody for 4 days. That's one thing. And then the other side of it would be the power of sharing what you're doing as a company. I think the only way that we move forward in the world and, in specifically America, we'll start there. But like Davey, I just saw is going to a 4-day work week.
I was going to bring it up. Exactly.
They're pushing a 4-day work week now.
Who is?
The city of Davey.
City of Davey. It's going to a 4-day work week. The only way we move forward is if people who are trying things are willing to share it and share the effects of it, good and bad sometimes, but be willing to share in that. And I think that's what a positive aspect of social media can be, even in your personal life, is sharing what you're doing. Saying and doing what works for us. Try it. This is what it did for us.
So I think what's really cool about what they did here, and this is a lesson for everybody, is they turned this into a positive spin for them. Hi, Mark. Did you know that HubSpot has a global week of rest? No, I didn't know.
I didn't know.
That's part of our long-term plan to prevent and battle burnout. Good for you, man.
Right.
Did you know? Like, that is such a powerful message, that, we're stepping away. We're resting. We're taking care of our people. The did you know part is fascinating.
They led with a question. Every leader I deal with, I try to teach them to walk into every scenario and lead with a question. They're not just delivering the news to me. They're not saying, hey, Mark, we're taking off for a week. See ya. Right? They're saying, hey, did you know that we do this? And here's why we do this. Therefore, here's how it may affect you. And here's what you need to do in order to ensure that this doesn't create a problem for you in your life. Wow, thank you. You actually took all of the effort from me to tell me when you're taking off, why you're taking off, and what I need to do in order to make sure that it doesn't affect me in a negative way. Wow, thanks for that. It's leadership. That is leadership in a nutshell right there.
And they're not abandoning their responsibility, because they go on to use a really, really important word. Streamlining customer requests will allow us to still handle day-to-day business, and they direct you what to do. So Shame on you if you don't pay attention. Like, this is one of those things, like, here's all the information, but whatever you do, I'll see you at the beach, man. And I just love it. I think it's so beautiful. It was done really well.
So, I like the thing we can't do is we can't add more time to the day. The day is the day. The weeks, the calendar is the calendar, right? Unless somehow you're gonna like completely change the global world and we're gonna move to a new calendar and new day system. It is what it is. But everything else inside of that, you have the ability to change. You can do whatever you decide to do with it. And that's what they're doing.
We are going to move to motivational music, which I love this song. I love this group, and it will tee up the conversation that I want you to stick around with, because the question is, are you wealthy?
Things
Do things, do things, do things. The best.
So, man, I was so into this.
Yeah.
So a report came out, a CNBC report that came out that said north of 75% of people are stressed about their finances.
Mhm.
Which is berserk to me, but I get it. You know, everybody's got bills to pay. And so one of the things that the article pointed out was that wealth is really much more about than your bank balance. And that's not taught in school. I'm not sure that's taught at JA. I'm not sure anybody's having that conversation because the only metric is make a lot of money, buy the shit you want.
Mhm.
So I wanted to unpack that with you because there are 6 types of wealth that this report talks about, and I can either share them or you can share them, or what do you want?
Yeah, what's interesting is I think growing up in an entrepreneurial family, I think being raised by an entrepreneur, money was not the thing, right? Like money was a tool, money is a vehicle, money had a place, but it wasn't necessarily the thing. It offered us a lot of opportunity, or it was something that we stressed about if the business was struggling. It was a thing, but it wasn't the thing. And I don't know that a lot of people who aren't kids of entrepreneurs know that or feel that way. They see parents rise through an organization, get to a level, make a lot of money. It's all about the money. It's all about the security. And it was never that way for me watching you. So when I entered into my career and they were like, you're going to make $13,000 a year, I was like, you're going to pay me to do the work I've been doing? Like, really? No. Right. No. You were like, the first thing you said to me was, you were like, you can't live on that. Right. But that my concept was, well, I'm going to do the work and the payday will come when it's supposed to come. Who gives a shit what the starting point is? Like if I gotta sleep on an air mattress and make it work, so be it. But so I don't that growing up that way is what offered me to think that way at 22, which I think is different.
Jake?
Well, I think there's, if you want to get into societal measures, like we're taught to go buy the new phone that comes out every year. We're taught to overindulge, to buy a bigger house, to buy a bigger car, to grow a bigger family, to do more. And I think that leaves people living way beyond their means and they're making decisions that might not even be exactly what they want in their life. But similar to Mark, I know we were fortunate that we had the ability to work for free, that we had the capability. Right. And the reason I'll say that is, but I watched people poor as dirt do the exact same thing that I did, work for nothing and make it work. Right. So I don't think that it's a deterrent, or because some people had said that to me and they were like, well, you can work for free. And I was like,
so can
yes,
you.
I understand. I did it and kept a certain life that most people weren't able to, which is I'm very fortunate for that. But I've watched people come from nothing, work, get paid for nothing. And
it's not a barrier to entry.
It's not a barrier to entry.
Unless you have obligations, right? Unless you took student loans, unless you have a family, unless like there's other things that create barriers. Choices that you make.
The list that came out and why I found it so relevant to talk about today was that Clark and Taylor, who did the report, say you should consider when deciding if you're truly wealthy. First thing, time.
Yeah.
Are you maximizing the use of your time?
And so Rich said it right here. He goes, if you don't have a plan for your money, someone else will. It's the exact same concept I talked about yesterday in time management.
Exactly right. So time, talent, what are you good at? How do you use those talents? That's wealthy. I'm wealthy that I have years of experience, and I'm very grateful for that. Network, are you spending time with other people? What happened yesterday was the power of networking, man. 50 people out there who know you and can refer you, and wisdom, body and mind. I know Paula is here and wishes she could have been here. We got to get
the definition of wisdom is interesting because it's not what I would have pegged as them labeling wisdom. It's so like if I think wisdom immediately off the book, I would say like you were reading a book or you have knowledge, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I guess I would more embody in mind, but wisdom is what are some things that have happened in the past that you were able to get through? What did you learn from that experience? And I think there's a lot of people, especially a lot of my friends, who don't have wisdom in the real world. And I don't mean that it's their fault. They've just never been pushed. They've
Right.
been in a system. Me and Mark talked about this, the difference of going for something or living comfortable. I think
Taking
not
risks.
right. Like
I had
not
that
knowing.
conversation with Kim Sarney yesterday. And it is a differentiator for people. Like,
Well,
are
by the
you
way,
willing to
Kim will
take
be
the risk?
on in July. She'll be a huddler in the hot seat.
I know.
Wait to fasten your seatbelt for that one. So, but Jake, what I would say is that they could substitute wisdom for experience.
Right.
I have worldly experience. I know people who are so book smart, wisdom, they can't fight their way out of a paper bag. When somebody used to call me MacGyver because she would change in business and they would go, "You just know how to figure it out." I was like, "Well, I learned how to figure it out by doing it." Just when it got presented to me, I can't do that with tools in, like building something, but I can do it in business. That's a gift. That goes back to my talent.
That's what Shay's for.
It's funny. Kim and I got into a conversation yesterday, and like we hadn't really talked about each other's stories ever before. And she was like, "Oh wow, I didn't realize that you had done all that already." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's dealing with people. People immediately assume age equals experience, age equals wisdom. And that's not really true. I mean, there are 18-year-olds that are far more experienced than some 55-year-olds in the world because of what they grew up in, because of where they were raised and how they were
I
raised.
forget her name, but the girl fighting climate control is smarter than all of us.
Right.
Has more wisdom beyond our wildest life.
Right.
So Scott Long asks a question. Thank you, Scott, coming in early from Houston. Mark, how do you reconcile this idea with the need to spend 60% of your day on RPOs?
Sure. So I would say, that percentage is for somebody whose sole responsibility of the organization is to drive revenue. When I deal with the 60-30-10 principle for people who do not have revenue responsibilities to an organization, that 60% is spent on their top priorities. So for me, part of my obligations or my top priorities, only a sliver of that 60 is actually revenue producing. The other part of it are ensuring that I'm meeting with Jake and Sarah and Shay to make sure the team is operating. Are we set? Do we have agendas? Organization? Like, there's so many other aspects, dealing with clients and helping them develop their strategies. So for me, that's 60, probably 20% of that is actually revenue producing, whereas the other 40 are split between our organization and other people's organizations.
So the more that we are starting to do leadership coaching and other forms of coaching within an organization, I have moved the R in RPO from revenue producing to result producing opportunities. Like, give me where your priorities are. And as if this getting you closer to your goal, still 60% of your activities have to be getting you closer to your goal. 30% is still, the research. How am I doing it? Who am I doing it with? And development, and then 10% admin. So, it's interesting because I was married to that revenue producing thing, and it's result producing just equally as well. So
amen to that. And that's where I think, we talked yesterday about the 25-5 rule from Warren Buffett. If you're trying to fit 25 priorities into that 60% of time, you don't have enough time to do all that, right? So you really got to be defined about what you're trying to get results from, because if you're trying to get results from too many things, you're hindering your ability to be effective.
Scott, feel free to reach out to me. We can go over that if you want. Beyond that, here's just talking about, Jake and I were on the way to the event yesterday. We were talking about music, and he goes, "Dad, I just love 80s music, this dance stuff, whatever." Today is Boy George's 62nd birthday. So he is riding co-pilot with me. So anyway, great stuff. Great.
Tomorrow, Huddler in the hot seat. We're going to have Huddlers in the hot seat.
Look at them. They're great.
The Sistel sisters, Jacqueline, Kara, and Janine will be here. They're a longtime client of ours now, and just a great group of women. Cannot wait to talk to them about leading a business solutions company and all the great conversation that'll come out of that.
You will be on the Huddle on Monday by yourself as well as me.
So Lori and I will be solo on Monday because you guys will still be on the boat. So I'm running the ship for Friday and Monday while you guys are actually on the ship. You guys have a great rest of your week. I will see everybody tomorrow. Shay, you'll be here with me, right?
Yeah, don't worry. Shay's here all the time. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, sir.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. Friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.